come to standing and face me. And take a moment. Don't look at your feet, but feel where is the most natural for your feet to be underneath the hips, and feel where you think it is. And then anchor the big toe and ever so gently spiral the thighs open so you feel a sense of support in the hip socket, and see if you can lengthen upward through the spine, softening the arms. And then without any judgment, look down and just notice where your feet are. Looks really good from the outside. But even if something's off kilter, that's a really good clue to patterns of the body. So take it in and don't judge. You'll know the answer someday. Let's find a drishti, a steady gaze point, as we start to build some strength in the legs. We'll just take I'll turn so you can see, pulses into chair pose. And try to be nice and light here. It doesn't matter how far you're going. Feel equal support in both feet and both hips. As you come up, you can play with coming onto tippy toes to challenge your balance a little bit. And the next time you're down in chair, start to shift the weight over into the left foot. And as you come up, let the right foot hover. And then we'll switch sides, chair into the other side. And play with this. Now you know what you're doing. Refine the drishti and see how stable you can become on one leg. I love calling this single leg Tadasana so that you know that the goal is to feel just as stable as you are with 2 feet on the ground. And the next time you're balancing on your left foot, you can pause there and reach the arms up and let the knee relax just a little bit. And now that same action from the beginning of class where we dragged the hands down to lengthen the spine, play with that as you lift the knee. And take a couple of pulses like that. And today only, this is our nutcracker pose. And we'll start to let the body open into dancer. And I've really been having fun keeping my pelvis pretty neutral here. And so that dancer really is more, in this expression, an experience of the glutes rather than like a deep back bend. So feel free to try that. And the next time the leg is back in dancer, bend the left knee generously and allow the right leg to step behind you comfortably, setting up for our curtsy. It can be dramatic, the leg can cross, but I want you guys to give yourself permission to sort of explore where that back leg is going to be. Oh, nice. I like that, Angeli. You can even come back into nutcracker and then find your curtsy. So take a few explorations, and then when you find something that feels stable and supportive for your pelvis, pause there and we'll add in our nice side bend that we did in our lunge. And breathe through that right side. And let's do one more on that same side just to get the muscle memory of going from nutcracker into our curtsy. And then we'll return to nutcracker and allow the hip to open into tree pose. The foot can be wherever is comfortable, and you can enjoy stillness, or you can play a little bit with allowing the rib cage to reach. Try pushing down extra into the foot to notice if that helps you get more expression of your spine. And then set the right foot down, relax the arms down, close the eyes if that feels safe, and just take in that experience on the first side. And now we'll balance it out on the second side. So shift the weight over into, actually we did a little differently. Come into your chair pose and then shift the weight into the right foot. Push down into the right foot. Take your left leg with you. Take one moment to find your your single-legged Tadasana, and then reach the arms overhead, soften the knee down. See how relaxed you can be in the hip flexor, and then drag the hands down as you lift the leg. Take a couple of pulses like that, and then let it start to expand. So as the knee lowers, you allow it to glide behind you towards dancer, and then each pulse, it evolves. The next time the leg is behind you, bend the right knee, step the foot back. First experiment of your curtsy. And then if your balance allows, I love this evolution of going from nutcracker to the curtsy and exploring different foot placements. Or just trusting that where the foot goes is perfect as long as you feel supported. Everyone looks great. Nice, so bouncy, Roseanne. And once you feel comfortable in your curtsy, you can pause and add on that side bend, and remember to push down into the feet and notice what that helps you explore through the spine. And last one, we return to the nutcracker, but then allow the hip to open. Hold still or wave a little bit. And set the left foot down and pause at center. And imagine you're lying on your belly with the hands stacked as we do so often, and feel that sense of connection to the earth and expansion three-dimensionally, front body, side body, back body. Okay, we'll put it all together. The third track, our peak moment, Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy. Bye, Mom. I'm sorry you're going to miss the Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy. Hope you're doing something awesome. So I'm going to demo this one time. We're going to do everything we just did, but we're going to put both sides together in a fun way. So it'll be up to you how many times you want to repeat the nutcracker to dancer. You'll add in your curtsy, and then you'll go right into tree. So from curtsy to tree. And then you'll lift the knee into nutcracker and step it behind you to go to the other side. And then we repeat. And this is my favorite part, especially with the music, so you can milk it a little bit. And I'll talk you through that, but I wanted you to see that transition. So let's all turn to the left in Tadasana. Find your drishti. And as you're ready, shift the weight, hover the hands and the leg, and pull the hands down to lift the right knee, and then start to let the body open and expand into dancer. Take as many pulses here as you want. And then you'll add in your curtsy. I like fluttering my fingers in the curtsy. And then bounce right up into tree. Perhaps there's that little wave with the rib cage. And then lift the knee, glide the foot back, and spiral all the way to the other side. Same thing, second side, starting with the nutcracker. And then playing between that and dancer. And you can always move at your own pace or stay with me, eventually crossing the leg behind into the curtsy. And then right into your tree. When you're ready, the knee lifts, and then send the foot back all the way to the other side. We'll do it 2 more times on each side. Give yourself permission to add and subtract anything that the body is asking you to do. And there's one final thing we'll be doing from our curtsy in the last round. And so there's no need to rush, but the next time you're curtsying with the left leg forward, pause there, or even come to neutral if you're already there and you don't want to wait a long time. So from our curtsy, we'll add on our side bend with our left hand in our hip, and we'll push into the feet and start to explore a little more rotation with the spine. So it's kind of like the shearing, but we've worked our way up to be able to side bend in both directions and even add a little bit of spinal extension. You don't want to be in your deepest side bend or your deepest back bend here, but use the feet to feel safe and see what's available. Have fun. Can let that top arm get a little dramatic with some big lassoing actions that allow the shoulder blade to glide over the rib cage. And then the next movement is tree. You can pause in tree, or you can be a little dramatic. This is your last expression of tree on this side. You've earned a deep sense of balance and a lot of variability with the spine. And then eventually lift the right knee, glide the right foot back, turn all the way to the other side. And then this is our very last side. So it starts with nutcracker to dancer. And then we take it into the curtsy, and this is where we'll add on that last exploration. So right hand and the right hip crease this time as you go into the side bend. And then you can start with the shearing that we've done a few different times, but then allow it to get a little bigger, rotating through the spine, making sure to feel a sense of lift and expansion. And then allow the arm to kind of be the cherry on top that flows all the way up from the work of the feet and the spine. And then eventually step forward into your tree. Challenge the balance of your tree with some shifting and spiraling of the arms. And then lift the left knee, step the left foot behind you, but this time we'll just turn to the side, landing in a straddle, and take a moment to relax the arms down, and then bring the hands to heart center. Take a couple of breaths just to drink in that experience. And then go to the next track on your playlist. That was a great transition, Angeli. Bring your hands to your hips and let the weight start to shift around in the feet. So first it rocks back to the heels, but the big toes always stay anchored. And then towards the outer edge of the right foot, and then the balls of the feet, and then outer edge of the left foot. And let the movement come from the weight shifting in the feet, but notice how the pelvis follows. And then notice how the movement of the spine follows. And then let the feet circle the other direction, or the weight in the feet rather. And as the weight transfers, imagine that familiar shape of your footprint and try to feel that from the heel to that outer edge, from the right side of the ball of the foot to the left side, just making that beautiful, almost like C-like shape with each foot. And then let your circles get smaller and smaller until there's equal weight in both feet and your hips are just making the tiniest little invisible circle. Connect with your breath. Glide the arms up like we've practiced so many times. And then as you drag the hands down, let the whole front of the body open. Push down into the heels and see if that gives you a little more extension through the front of the body. And then reach up. I'm going to turn to the side. Bend the knees and allow the spine to drape over the thighs. The hands can glide down the thighs or come to the floor, and gently start to shift the weight from foot to foot, letting one knee bend at a time, letting the hips sway. Let the spine be soft. And then lower one knee at a time so you're in tabletop. Press the hips towards the heels, push down into the shins to roll up to a high kneel. And we're going to play with that movement from earlier one more time, because sometimes it gets easier after you put it on the back burner. So let's take a rock back. And then kneeling chair into the hip roll. And then let the movement get smaller and smaller, because we're at the end of class. We're not trying to do too much effortful things here. And just see how smooth you can make this movement. One more round. And then pause at the top and allow the hips to come over to the left side and make a nice easy twist to the left. And push down into the shins and let the whole spiral start in the feet and the shins. And the whole rest of the body follows. And then reach the arms overhead and start to push down into the shins to float up into kneeling. And then we can lower to the other side, gently twisting to the right. And then press the shins down into your mat, letting the body naturally express itself effortlessly. Connect with the breath. Try to feel both sides of the rib cage expanding here, especially that left side. And then